All right, guys. Sorry about that. We were having some technical difficulties. Actually, I lost power here. The Ramble Studios here at the Flock of Birds production. So, that being said, I'm going to try to get Rich Quick back on the line. But until then, uh, guys, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. It's always nice to hear from ramblers out there. Hello,
What in
Rich
the world
Quick.
happened
Sorry
to you?
about that, buddy.
All right. I'm glad you're okay. I was like,
Well, we
maybe
lost
I
power
judged you on
here,
Covey
but
Cole.
fortunately, Ecamm Live is amazing. So I lost power, had to reboot my computer, and then when I turned it back on, it said, "Do you want to continue this broadcast?" I said, "Hell yeah, we'll continue that broadcast."
Yes, you do. Yes, we do. All right. As I was saying, jump off the. You can edit this later for the podcast.
Right.
So, off the second rope onto the top post as a moonsault off and Jason Kincaid does, and it showed how awesome those guys were to adapt to something that was unexpected. And they had a tremendous match, and there wasn't all this rope running, flippy things. It was a really really good wrestling match, and so you show who's better than the other, and all those guys in the Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, Tejano Jr., Adam Page, Chris Jericho, John Moxley, all those guys are above but I think that there is a difference when you watch certain matches of like, oh, you're really good, and oh, you're there.
Right. Yeah. It's what they call the it factor. Am I right?
hmm Well, I think a lot of that is also experience and time, and you know, just learning and getting better. You
Sure.
know, uh, and like you can, I saw like I've seen Colt Cabana wrestle, and he's a really good wrestler, and I credit some of that to the time he spent in WWE developmental because they teach you how to wrestle like you've seen on TV all the years that you're growing up, and those guys stand out than other guys.
All right. Sure.
So, all right,
Back to that
continue.
SCW
I'm
show.
walking
You,
back
you mentioned.
inside. I thought I had lost you forever. So
I didn't catch none of that, bro. You was breaking up.
that's right. It wasn't important.
Okay. Back to the SCW show when the rope broke. I remember the reason why the rope broke because they were doing a spot and Al Snow hit the ropes probably 20 times in a row, just back and forth, back and forth. All good times. I actually
Yeah.
met Shane Douglas for the first time at an SCW show, and I made the mistake and asked him about today's wrestling product, and I didn't think I was ever going to get away from him.
Yeah. No, like one of my coolest memories was because I was managing Shane at the time, and Shane and I standing next to the concession stand as he watched the Timmy Lou Retton, conservative liberal Daniel. I know his real name. Anyway,
Daniel Richards?
Daniel Richards. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. I didn't want to. I didn't want to give away his real name. But yeah, Dan Richards. So Shane and I sat and watched Timmy Lou and Dan in a match, and I remember because Dan Richards like cut this conservative liberal promo at the beginning, and we're sitting there, and Shane and I were watching, and he leans over and goes, "You should have ended that 2 minutes ago," and just like leaned, and it was like, and but he was like very complimentary of the guys, but he was also just leaning over like giving like little pointers, like that was good, or that could have been better. So like I've always enjoyed my times with Shane just because I got to sit there and listen to him just like live tweet a match, kind of like just to me, and so he was a very nice guy. Or
Steve
he is. He's
New.
not dead. He's not dead.
He's not dead. Steve New is on Facebox there. He says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Steve? How you doing, buddy? Wish you was in the studio here." Mike Loving says,
Yeah,
"What's up, guys?" on Facebook. What's up, Mike?
I don't care.
You leave Mike alone. But lastly, for more of my con, it was AEW Fighter Fest as a whole. But John Moxley versus Joey Janela. You mentioned that it factor earlier, and I know Joey Janela has been through the ringer in the independents, and he's known for all these crazy spots and his spring break shows. But if there was a story there, maybe I could get invested. But I wasn't invested at all in the match. Nothing against Moxley, nothing against Janela, but I was not invested in the match at all.
No, I wasn't either. And, you know, I felt bad for Moxley because I'm like, there is no reason you should be going on the barbed wire. You are John and friggin' Moxley.
Right.
You do not go on the barbed wire for him on a free show. I think that's my problem. Like, do it if it's against somebody better, and you're going to get some pay-per-view money out of this. You know, you're going to get, like, do it for the right price. But maybe he did. Maybe, you know, I don't know. But
and another thing, the Moxley's first match with AEW, this is what he's going to do. I know he's wrestling Kenny Omega at All Out, but really this is the first match that he's going to have that the world's going to see in AEW is against Joey Janela in a unsanctioned
lights out match. Yeah.
I did like how they sold it though at the end of the night. Like, yeah, the show's over. That's it, guys. This next match we ain't got nothing to do with. that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I like that. That's like little things that are missing, you know, like, this isn't a pro Oricon for me. But it was just something like, like as soon as I heard it, I went, oh, that wasn't organic. But like on Raw, whenever they burst through the backstage, like the screen,
right.
And Corey Graves goes, holy shit. And I was like, he was told to say that. They told him to say that. And he did deliver with more inflection than I just did. I will admit.
But still, even so, like you said, it was fed to him, obviously. You know, why wait so long to do it? Because if you remember, there was a good 4 or 5 second pause after he went through before he said it. You know?
Yeah. That's what makes me think they were like, say holy shit. Really? I can say that? Yes, I can say holy shit. You know, like,
listen, pal. You say
it. Yeah. So I think like that was like, see this. Really? No, I promise. All right. And I think that was the pause. But yeah. And what I think is really funny is that everybody is thinking that that like, oh, this was so Paul Heyman. This whole episode was so Paul Heyman.
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. This was written a while ago, I think. Like, they're not going to... No, I don't think this was all Paul Heyman. I think the pay-per-view... I think the Raws and the SmackDown starting after Extreme Rules, because they've already built up everything to Extreme Rules.
Right. Well, they write everything out a year in advance, is what Stephanie McMahon says.
Oh, that's why they're hiring writers all the time.
I got a shit on my buddy Kenny Dunn here on Facebook real quick. He says, Havoc versus Moxley will be a great death match. Fine. We don't want to see it on national TV. Go death match somewhere. I'm not a fan of Havoc anyway. I mean, he looks like he could be Shannon Moore's partner back in TNA.
What was it? MJF called him like a 50-year-old man or something like that.
Something. Yeah. Was Jimmy Havoc, is that what it is?
Yeah, Jimmy Havoc.
Which he might be able to go. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him to really decide.
No, pretty much
way.
What you see is what you get.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure he can. I'm sure he could like out wrestle. I mean, he's a better wrestler than you. I mean, I never considered myself a wrestler. I'm just saying that if you wanted to book it, Jimmy Havoc versus John Covey Cole, coal miner's glove on a pole match.
Hey, I ain't worried about him. Am I going to put my title on the line?
Oh, please do. Please do.
I'm about due to put that thing on the line. I don't know if you know or not. It's been a couple.
Are you kidding me?
It's been a couple days, ain't it?
Oh, you must have the biggest idiot in the world, then.
I was actually going to give Derek Jones a title shot, but he decided to roll out on me. So,
cue Derek. I want. What? No, Derek?
No, Derek.
That was the perfect time for him to walk in and say, "Really, were you? You were going to give me a title shot. Well, how about that?
I was
blah 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 blah. That would have been a great. That would have been a great thing." He's not there, huh?
He's not here, and but I do have a contender for the championship. But I'm going to wait till later in the show to let you guys know who that is.
Really?
But I am due a defense, so I'm going to do my due diligence and be a fighting champion, and I'm going to put it on the line. Very soon.
Is it the legless kid from Double or Nothing?
No, he ain't got a leg to stand on. I can't beat him. But anyway, that's my con. Fighter Fest as a whole was my con. And
all right.
There was good there, but I'm not going to continue to decipher the whole thing. But as a whole, that was my con. What was yours, Rich, quick?
Well, my con had a lot to do with that, and I think we covered that earlier. It was about the attention that the chair shot got, Cody. Like, they got the wrong kind of attention in the press and in the media, and it didn't look good, even though I thought it was okay. But whatever. So I will
hang on a second. There's been a sighting here. Look at there. What I found.
Gracious.
Hello.
Oh gosh, two
Prodigal son returns, does he?
Maybe.
Man, I mentioned something to John Covey Cole about wanting to get a shot at the title. Next thing I know, 4 guys show up in Florida and try to beat me up. But I beat them within an inch of their life because I'm a legit badass, and here I am. So, John Covey Cole, you go ahead and get your refund back from Chuck and Vinny and Knuckles and Vito because they didn't get the job done.
I was telling Rich there before you showed up, Brian. I'm actually putting this thing on the line so you can talk smack if you want. I was actually going to give Derek Jones a chance at the championship, but he didn't quit the show. He didn't quit the show. I fired his ass for slandering my name. So I'd be careful what you say over it, pal. I got your name right here.
You fired Derek Jones?
Fired his ass.
Yeah, apparently so. That's the first I ever heard of it. So,
but that being said,
first I heard of it.
That being said, though, I do have a contender for the Royal Ramble Championship, and it's actually going to be happening.
I said he must be the dumbest son of a bitch on the planet because you would not be dumb enough to put your title up against somebody who knew something.
I ain't scared, man. I'm a fighting champion, Rich.
So who are you going to face?
I'm not going to disclose until later on in the show.
He's until the third segment.
Oh, so so you're choosing.
Well, I think this guy has earned a shot.
Keep talking. I'm listening.
I think this guy has earned a shot.
You've disgusted him, and he's walked away.
I guess I done run him off too, didn't I? Dear Lord. Oh, well.
I'm coming back.
Good God. All
right.
So what we are discussing.
Had to set a little higher. My phone actually is dying, so I had to hook it up to the base. And now I needed a booster seat so I could be up there.
Hey, Rez, we don't want to hear about the labor pains, honey. We just want to see that baby.
Just letting you know that's why I disappeared. So where are we at?
We are at with pros and cons, and I went ahead and threw my con out, and my con was Fighter Fest. More importantly, Nakazawa versus Alex Jabroni, or Jabali, whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah, that was terrible.
No story. The guy don't need to be there.
I did like Fighter Fest, though, but I didn't like that.
Young Buck Street Fighter, not so much their apparel, but the spot they did in the ring I thought was ridiculous. I put that in there with the pecker flipper and the.
Did you hear about the fact that Kenny's outfit didn't make it?
Yeah, I heard about that. That's unfortunate.
That's pretty nuts. I wonder what he would have looked like.
I liked how Jim Ross kept talking about Kenny Omega's hair. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then lastly, Moxley versus Joey Janela. I just wasn't invested in the match. I hate it was Moxley's first match for AEW. And I'm just not sold on Joey Janela at all. So
I dug the match. I thought it was okay, but man, Cody and Darby tore the place down. I loved that match.
Cody's 2 for 2, that's for sure.
That was the best match.
I had mentioned on that it was my personal opinion, since you weren't here, that Darby Allin took way, way worse punishment on that backdrop or
Than
just
the chair
back fall than the chair shot.
Oh, for sure. That was way worse than that chair shot was fine. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how all kinds of can I say the word pussy on this show?
No, you can't say the word pussy on this show, Brian.
Okay, can I change it to wussy maybe?
Wait, I just said it too, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, the point is, how did we get so many pussy wrestling fans that are now called? Oh, well, that was unnecessary. We didn't need to see a chair shot. You know how long it's been since we've seen a good head chair shot? I wanted that.
And let me tell you what happened here. Tell what happened to me. I was telling Rich there earlier, I had a show Saturday night, so I couldn't watch it live. But I was getting notifications on my phone, and I try to ignore them when there's an event going on so I don't spoil anything. But it said something about Cody gets busted open on a terrible chair shot or something. I was like, oh, that's cool as hell. So I had to look that up on the spot. And I was like you, Brian. I'm like, really? This was the horrible chair shot that you guys were talking about?
I know. I don't.
Somebody giving you the Iggy over there, buddy?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I hated the fact that got more. That was what people took away from this entire pay-per-view, was that Cody getting busted open. I felt that was not the right look.
Did you notice that Cody cut himself on the wrong side too?
He cut himself. He gigged that.
Yes, he bladed. He bladed on the wrong side. He didn't. That chair shot did not open him up. You ever had the back of your head opened up? It does not open up like that. It is not. You don't get hit with a chair in the back of your head that perfectly and get cut. What's gonna cut you? You go hit him so hard with a chair that it bust open? No, absolutely not. You know how many times I've been hit with a chair? You, Rich.
Yo, check.
I told you to keep talking, Rich, and you give me a check.
Oh, okay.
Really.
Oh, sorry. All right. So,
I'm back on air now, guys. Did you catch that, Brian?
Yeah.
I didn't know you've never done that before. What were you talking about?
That was a new one. That was a new one. Sorry about the
I'm all discombobulated.
surprise. I can't remember now, Rich. Did you get to your con we were discussing earlier?
No. My con. Maybe my glasses fog up.
Can you hear me right now, John?
I can hear you fine,
we can
brother.
all hear you right now.
Okay.
All God's children can hear you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, John says I need a microphone, so let me tune right back in. I will call you guys right back.
Okay. I'll get to my con. All right. My con.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my con out of there a week. I tried to mute the thing and handle some business behind the curtain, and then Brian's just gonna throw me under the bus. Look at him. That's terrible. That's why we can't have nice things, Resner. Once you listen to this back, that's why we can't have nice things. Gotta keep the kayfabe alive, pal. Go ahead, Rich.
Bang, 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 bang. All right. My con. First and foremost, let me preface by saying congratulations and mazel tov to Mike and Maria Kanellis on their upcoming baby. I heard that she is pregnant, and that she failed to reveal that information until after they signed their 5-year deal.
Yeah, I read the same thing today. That's that's smart on their part, but that's
hell
pretty...
yes, it's smart on their part. So this whole thing, I kind of liked it. But also I thought it was like, this is good. Oh, this was a step too far, and you lost me. It became like edgy. Oh, come the frig on. You know what I mean? Like, so when she was like, maybe I'll ask Becky to impregnate me next time. I found myself, and forgive me here, this is whatever. My first thought when she was like, maybe I'll have Becky impregnate me, I went, I'd watch that. Like,
Red Bucket Vince.
Yeah. It's like, but that's fine. But like, just the way she treated Mike Kanellis at the end, it went from lovable cuckold to a broken man, and that is a fine line to tread. You know what I mean? And so I thought that's what they were going to do. Like, how about me and my bitch versus you and yours? I love that line.
Sure, that was great.
I was like, oh, look at all the little Canellis over there, and then he came to the ring. He just kept getting abused. Here's what I suggest: the more she abuses him, the better he gets.
Okay,
I just wrote $1 million story.
Brian, I was burying you on the show here while you was getting your life together over there.
That's all right, but you got to watch back. That's what he said.
Yeah, you got to watch back.
Man of your word.
What I'm talking about.
So what did you say about me?
I was just.
He said you have to watch it back.
Got to watch it back to find out.
You son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm gonna have me and my bitch face you and your bitch. Well, that's what Rich's con was. Not that line, but go ahead and disclose a little bit with Resner.
So you want to know what my con was?
Sure. If you're that anxious.
Let me finish my con.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Rich.
You're not finished? My bad. I'm sorry.
No,
go ahead.
I wanted your opinion on it.
Okay,
so
give it to me.
My thing was not the fact that Mike Kanellis was being cuckolded over here. It was that they went like a step too far and was like, maybe I'll ask Becky to impregnate me, the kind of thing. But it was like she kind of went too far in the changing him from lovable cuckold until just broken man. And although I had said before that I had heard that she had not revealed her pregnancy until after they had signed their 5-year deals. Did you hear that?
I did hear that, and you know what I was thinking is if they wouldn't have had like the pregnancy storyline in there, then I could see wow, this is going to build up to Mike just being getting fed up and throwing her away. But now he'd be leaving his kid too, so that's a whole new dynamic to that storyline. Yeah. So I don't know how you build up to him coming out of the cuckold a solid face. But either way, I was glad to see both of them on the show.
I was very happy to see that as well. But here's my $1 million idea: turn him actually into a cuckold. So every time she just yells terrible things at him and that hulks him up, that makes him better. You dirty pig boy. And he's like, yes!
I wonder. Yeah, that is good. That is good. I'm wondering if maybe we're going to see some scenes of him outside the locker room waiting on her to get done inside with random guys each week. I don't know if we're going to go that far.
No, that would actually...
Who's the baby? Turns out it's Vince McMahon. He likes shit like that.
You know what I would do?
I'd have dated back. I'd have maybe dated
running
balls.
like Russo era things right now? Because I'm like, you start off small, and then you get bigger to where he walks out and is like, I would say Great Khali if that was today.
Right.
But I'm thinking right now Babatunde from NXT. Or something or Killian Dane or I don't know, somebody.
It's just that you heard it here on the Royal Ramble first. Paul Heyman is not in charge of Monday Night Raw. They have brought back Vince Russo to help with the storylines on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian, what's your con, old bud?
All right, my con is the fact that they really overdone it with the fireworks. When the fireworks were so overdone, I don't know if they were all supposed to go off at once and somebody lit them wrong or what the deal is. But man, when they went through that, it was a really cool set. I mean, the whole spot was cool. I liked how they went through the thing. I like how they were both hurt. But man, it was like a grand finale 4th of July thing back there, and that is not how shit breaks.
No.
Stuff don't break like that.
I do have a con about that one segment, and I've already mentioned how Corey Graves, S-bomb.
We having micro cons now, Rich?
Huh?
Well, so we having micro cons now?
Okay. Corey Graves, holy shit comment, was very scripted. And it was as soon as he said it, I went, oh, he was told to say that. But the crowd I've been thinking all week about how to fix this because I'm like, oh, my idea would completely bury Bobby Lashley. Maybe, maybe not.
Which is what?
Which is the crowd was so happy when that thing broke. They were cheering really, really loud. They were over. It would have just put it over to the moon if Braun Strowman just would have stood up and just put his arms up and like, yeah. And people would have been like, he is unbeatable. But them both getting carted off kind of was like, oh, nobody's the winner then, huh? I guess.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much.
I know they're leading to a pay-per-view, but it was just like,
Other than the extra fireworks, I was okay with the whole spot. I liked the fact that I was sitting there watching with my wife, and my wife was like, oh, are they really hurt? And I was like, yeah, they are. I was like, they're dying.
No, see that camera angle we've never seen before? That means it's real.
That's exactly what it did mean. That's exactly what it meant to her. When we seen that camera angle, you know what would have really put it over as real? And it might have screwed up the show a little bit. But, man, I wouldn't have turned that Titantron on the rest of the night.
Nope. I'm with you 100%. I was
that would
kind
have
of
been
bummed
broken
out
all night long.
I was bummed out when they turned it back on. I was like, man, y'all just killed it all right there.
Yeah. The realism, I would have totally turned that thing off the rest of the night. I would have had another Tron rigged up somewhere else so that the crowd could see the matches if you were far away, and I would have left that piece off all night long. People would have came back. They'd have came down primetime wrestling style with no screen.
I mean, you even had Michael Cole and the other announcers apologizing. Guys, we're not equipped for this kind of travesty or whatever it was they said. I mean, it was all there. Just don't turn the damn thing back on, please.
Yeah, just don't turn it back on that night. I mean, it would have been really, really a good touch of realism. But my wife definitely got suckered in, and I liked that.
That's a win. That's a win right there.
Yeah, that was a straight up win for sure. Even though there were fireworks, like ridiculous amounts.
It was a Roman candles. What it was? Choo.
They just kept going off and off. You know, I feel like somebody was in Gorilla, like, stop the fireworks, stop them now. This is too much. Oh, not again. What are you doing? Like, I just feel like that was going on.
Yeah, like when
you want
like
more
explode,
fireworks?
they don't explode like that. There's just a bunch of smoke, and
So since I was gone, can I start the pros?
Yeah, but you better hurry up. We've been here an hour. You've only been here like 5 minutes, but we've been here an hour.
Well, what you already done?
No, we haven't done our pros yet. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. So the pro for me this week has got 3 parts to it. The first part was all day long I was excited about Raw. I felt myself looking at the clock all day long, like how much time do I have left to work?
It was that giddy.
I got to get to home so I can watch Raw in its entirety. I even took a nap to make sure that I could, like, when I got home, I was like, oh, nope, sorry, can't talk, kids. I got to go to sleep. Raw's going to be on tonight, and I can't fall asleep. I prepared for Raw. And you know what? The second part of that is Raw came out strong.
Why did you prepare for Raw?
Because of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman running the show got me excited. I wanted to see what he was going to do. I was just as excited about SmackDown, honestly, because of Eric Bischoff. I'm a huge Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman fan. And the fact that, I'm a Paul Heyman fan, and I'd say most of you know that I'm an Eric Bischoff fan. But the fact that they were running their selective brands, I was so excited. And then I watched Raw, and it was actually good. It started good. It finished good. It was a good Raw. It was a good Raw. So my pro is Raw, 100%. It was great. It was awesome. I expected more out of SmackDown that I didn't get, but it wasn't bad. So I'll take that as a win too.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, Brian. My pro of the week was AJ Styles turning heel.
Well, hold on a second. We didn't even discuss his pro.
Mine's part of his pro. I was going to mention AJ Styles turning heel with the Good Brothers. I enjoyed that.
I liked it too, and I feel like that Mike Kanellis was used because of Paul Heyman. I feel like the Good Brothers may have a new run because of Paul Heyman. Like I'm literally giving Paul Heyman the credit for everything awesome that happened this week, and Eric Bischoff gets some too. Exciting.
Well, earlier I had said that everybody is excited because they're like, "Oh boy, this is the Paul Heyman episode." When I'm like, Paul Heyman is not writing this episode. I think they have written, like, according to everything online, or do you think that you get hired on one day, like a few days earlier, and then you come in and you run the show?
From what I understand, Paul Heyman ran the show on Monday, and that Paul Heyman has already talked to guys that aren't being used and talking about how he's going to use them. And Paul Heyman, like, jumped in head first on this.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
Can we just take one moment to actually realize that it's 2019
and people still believe Paul Heyman when they tell him what he's going to do for them?
No, it's just the whole fact of Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, even Bruce Pritchard, being in the WWE with any sort of creative power. That's just mind-blowing to me.
Right. I mean, it is pretty awesome to have that type of nostalgia right in front of our face and the possibilities of such. But honestly, I think the competition aspect between Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff is going to make wrestling great again. And not to take that from Trump, and that's also not a hint at Trump showing up on SmackDown and on Fox. I heard about that as well. But we're gonna make wrestling great again with Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman going head to head against each other.
I think you just made Rich Quick a little moist over there. He seemed like he's getting a little excited.
What?
Well, Donald Trump's supposed
to
be
know nothing, John Cole.
You know what I can't wait about the Trump thing is I cannot wait to see how the crowd responds to Trump. Is Trump going to walk out and be a babyface, or is he going to walk out and be a heel?
I haven't heard anything about that, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. You guys want to talk politics, call in.
We're not talking politics. Right. We're talking about Fox wanting Donald Trump on SmackDown.
Well, Donald Trump is or is not the president of the United States.
No, while he's the president of the United States, which he can totally do because he'll be campaigning for president.
You don't understand what I'm saying I'm saying I don't want to talk about fucking Donald Trump. I'm saying let's move forward. Donald Trump is the president. Therefore, that's politics. Fuck politics. Let's move on.
Just saying he might show up. He's a Hall of Famer first.
In case you can't tell, Rich, I brought me a whole big old bag of them bitches here with me today. I'm in the firing mood, so don't push me, Resner.
A big old batch of what? Pig
slips? I got a big old bag of fucks right here, and I'm passing them out like crazy.
So then you do give a fuck?
No,
yes, he does.
Touche, my friend, touche.
Well, John Covey Cole, you took mine, but I, no fear, I have one in the chamber. But mine was AJ and the club joining forces again because I love nothing more than a good Gallows and Anderson promo. And I think those three guys together would be great. I wish they would add somebody else piece later if that's going to be a thing. But
would you like to see Finn Balor with them?
No.
No, because Finn Balor should be a top guy. AJ Styles is a top guy.
I got you.
If AJ was the world champion, Finn Balor was the Intercontinental, and they were the tag team champions. That would be a great faction.
But you know what? I could totally see Finn Balor being the guy that Gallows and Anderson turn on AJ for.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That was almost my con, gentlemen. That was almost my con, Finn Balor not being on TV again this week. And where the hell was Bray Wyatt this week?
Yeah.
No, he was knocking on Aleister Black's door.
He's not going to be the guy knocking on Aleister's door. You really think they're going to bring Bray Wyatt in to face Aleister Black in Aleister Black's first big singles match on the main roster and have Bray Wyatt or Aleister Black lose that match? That's ridiculous.
You would think so.
I don't think it's going to happen.
You would think so. I think that they would screw the finish and carry this on as long as possible, or make them a
But why
tag
start
team.
there
I don't know.
with either
They're
one of
gonna do
these
something
guys?
stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Why start there with either one of these guys?
No.
Build something
But
like
it has
that
to be,
for.
he has to beat somebody big. Maybe Bray Wyatt shows up, and then he beats Bray Wyatt, and then the Fiend shows up.
See,
and
there's
he
an
beats
idea.
Aleister Black.
There's an idea.
then-
I like that.
Yeah. And then they both have this match, and then they, I don't know, cross that bridge. But I'll say this as a pro, because it needs to, I'm making a prediction. Is that the 24/7 championship? I'm really enjoying it. I was like, R-Truth's getting a little ballsy, just a little
Strolling around.
heelish. I mean, he's getting like a little heelish, kind of just flaunting it in Drake Maverick's face with his wife. And Drake Maverick ends up winning the title. And what I think is going to happen is that Drake Maverick's wife will pin him in his sleep. She will win the title, saying, "See, this title means more to me, means more to you than me. Now it belongs to me." Now, and then that will start the Carmella winning and it will just kind of go bing, bang, boom, 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 boom between Carmella and R-Truth.
I like it, Rich. That's good writing, buddy. I like that. That's a good idea.
Could easily happen too.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going.
Or R-Truth's going to sneak in their bedroom while they're on their honeymoon, consummating the marriage, and get the pinfall right there while they're doing
Hold
the
on.
nasty.
Is he going to get the pinfall, or is he going to get something else? You know what I'm saying?
So does that mean that
The
that
pinfall.
Drake Maverick's on the bottom?
Yep.
Of course,
He
He's on
he
sure
his back.
does.
He's on his back, John Covey Cole. Goodness gracious.
Are we about to
He's
throw
a little
another
man.
peg?
He should be more agile.
Kenny Dunn said, "You mean the 7-Eleven European Championship?"
Yes, that one. Yeah.
7-Eleven European Television Championship.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know where the hell we're at anymore. We've been here.
It's time for weekly news.
Weekly
Yeah, we've all done our
news.
pros.
I got a shield to pay the bills, guys. We'll be right back.
Since 2001, drug companies dumped 1 billion opioid pills in West Virginia, causing over 3,000 overdose deaths and thousands of babies born addicted by no fault of their own. I'm attorney Stephen New. If you're the grandparent or guardian of a child born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, call me. I'll help you seek just compensation.
Call the law offices of Stephen P. New at 1-844-BAD-PILLS before time runs out.
All right. Since you're curious as to what's going on, Brian, I'll go ahead and disclose with you on the air, since we don't have time to disclose off the air. The reason I asked you to get your headphones and your microphones is because last week on the podcast, there was a horrible echo from Derek's not having a earpiece in for the playback on your end, and it caused a horrible echo in the podcast. And I was just trying to prevent that. So if you ain't worried about that and you want to rock on with the echo, you can charge your phone and do your thing, baby. But
All right, because I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. All right, let's talk some weekly news. We're not going to stay on here long
All right.
because of some stuff and things. So we'll go ahead and talk. We'll throw out 3 different news topics, Brian. So choose wisely.
Oh, man. Really?
Well, yeah, that's what
Okay.
happens when you show up an hour late for the show.
All right.
AJ Lee says never say never on her return to wrestling. Former WWE diva AJ Lee was on FS1's Fair Game. FS1, which is WWE, going to be working with Fox, and keep that in mind. She was asked if she would ever lace up her boots again. She's been retired since 2015, having her last match at the Raw after WrestleMania 31. She lost to Paige, right?
I do believe, yeah.
Yeah. She said, I'd never say never. Every time I've said never in my life, I wound up doing the thing. I'd never date a wrestler. I'd never date another wrestler. Then it ended with me marrying one. I don't know what the future holds. So not to hold your breath, but never say never. And that's the beautiful thing about wrestling in general. You can't never say never. I mean, Ultimate Warrior come back to the WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would love for her to come back. I give it a thumbs up.
Oh, I'm all about it.
No, I did too. I was thinking just the whole like never say never, like never do this, and my girl will never sleep with John Cena. And then they do. They all do.
They all do. All right. Well, let's move on to the next piece of news here. Cain Velasquez, the guy who defeated Brock Lesnar for the UFC championship, just made his professional wrestling debut at AAA Triple Mania on August 3rd. Velasquez, or he's about to make his professional wrestling debut at Triple Mania, where he will team up with Cody Rhodes and Psycho Clown to take on Texano Jr. and
Tejano
with a mystery partner. So Cain Velasquez will step in a professional wrestling ring. What does that mean for Brock Lesnar? Are we going to see Cain Velasquez possibly in the WWE?
I think Brock will be gone before Velasquez is ready to come to the WWE.
Or does the fact that he's tagging up with Cody means we're going to see him in October?
It's a chance.
I think that's a much better chance because I think if you put Kane and Brock into a wrestling ring and told somebody who's going over, they wouldn't like that too much. Especially,
I think Brock could take it. I think Brock could be all about it. And really, I mean, can you imagine Brock Lesnar coming face-to-face with Cain Velasquez and what kind of story you could pull out of that?
Oh, it'd be a great story. Yeah,
it'd be great,
absolutely.
but I think AEW is probably the route. What's the next story, John?
Well, I'm having a hard time picking here, but I'm going to go ahead.
Well, if we keep going quick, we can knock them all out.
You yell at me. Take my time, you say, huh? Mentioned earlier that Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman is going to run WWE TV shows as executive directors. The company has announced that Paul Heyman has been named the executive director of Monday Night Raw, and Bischoff will be the executive director of SmackDown Live in newly created positions that will report directly to Vince McMahon. Heyman and Bischoff will oversee the creative development of their respective shows. I've read different pieces of different articles that said that Bischoff's not going to be starting until after Extreme Rules. I've read that he's not going to be starting until August. But it said that Paul Heyman is kind of already there, maybe not in charge, but he's making moves already.
Well, speaking of Paul Heyman, I've got to go straight into the next story I have, which Tommy Dreamer was recently on his own podcast talking about depression and anxiety and things like that he's dealt with. And in this show, he said something ridiculous, John. Have you heard this?
I have not.
Okay, on this show, now we're talking. Now go back to WrestleMania 17. ECW had just closed. They are going to use Tommy Dreamer in WrestleMania 17, and then all of a sudden, they decide to go with Rhino instead. Now Tommy's already upset because ECW just closed, and the one thing he had to look forward to now is given to Rhino, and he's uncertain of his future. He's got his own money invested in ECW, which is now defunct, and his parents' money are invested in ECW, which is now defunct. And he finds out, because he got offered a deal to come to the WWE, he turns it down for Paul. And he's upset. And then Paul finds out Paul had a check the entire time. So he says, I'll tell you what I wanted to do. And it's sick that I even think like this. At WrestleMania, I was going to hop the rail, and I was going to shoot Paul Lee in the back of the head right at the announce table. And I was going to shoot myself to be an ultimate martyr. Hit my post, crack, boom, pull the trigger.
Wow.
That was his plan for WrestleMania 17. Can you imagine how different the wrestling world would be if that would have happened?
Wow.
Oh. So, sometimes it's the things you do that make the wrestling world a better place. And then also it's sometimes the things you don't do that make the wrestling world a better place. Because the wrestling world would not be a better place if Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman were dead.
No, absolutely not. And you know what I was thinking about? Like, I didn't have time to look this up, but you have a computer there in front of you.
I do not.
Or, well, John Covey does. The question is this before or after Chris Benoit did what he did?
I don't know, but I can't use.
Well, here's both sides.
Right now.
When did Benoit do the thing?
I think 2004.
This would be before. Is WrestleMania like what, 13 or 17?
No, 17.
Oh,
2000.
It's kind of cloudy in there. I'm not sure which happened first, but here's the side of both coins. If that happened before Chris Benoit did what he did, maybe it would have woke Chris Benoit up, and maybe he wouldn't have done what he did. But on the other side of the coin, if it happened after what Chris Benoit did, then it would be another psycho thing that would happen. And with Owen Hart, then Chris Benoit, then Tommy Dreamer, they may have shut the whole damn sport down.
Okay, when did you say that Chris Benoit did the thing? 2003?
I think it was 2004.
Well,
I'm not
2003, I was 17, and that's how I can remember what WrestleMania was, because I was 17, WrestleMania 17. So
it would have been right at the same time.
Yeah.
As I stroke the gray hairs in my beard, you.
Well, see, it could have probably
kid.
happened like right.
I got gray hairs in my beard too, pal. Don't hog all the fun.
And it makes you wonder what would have happened to the sport if that would have happened. What a crazy situation.
Well, wrestling has already, I mean, we've finally gotten away from it a lot in the last 10, 15, 20 years. But wrestling has always kind of been the outcast, the circus act. If that would have happened, then wrestling would have, I mean, I know it's went down ratings and stuff, but it would have went down even more if that would have happened at WrestleMania. I mean, that would have just totally killed the
on live TV, and they do have like a 7-second delay, so probably it wouldn't have been shown. But the people there, but in that day and age, and there was still, internet. It would have gotten around.
What a psycho thing to admit to.
I know, right?
Whether you, I mean, until this past week, that was in Tommy Dreamer's head, and it had never came out, other than like maybe privately to a therapist. I hope
you don't feel like he's working you, bruh?
I don't. Well, why would you do that? Even if you were,
you got to get your heat somehow these days, man.
I bet a weight has been lifted off of Tommy Dreamer's shoulders.
What does he get out of that? What would he possibly get out of that? But you know what? I totally believe in Tommy Dreamer's depression, because I met Tommy Dreamer and hung out with Tommy Dreamer for an entire day. And I tell you, the best way I can describe his personality is it's like hanging out with someone whose dog was just ran over in front of them all the time.
Aww.
That's how Tommy Dreamer.
You've made Rich Quick sentimental and
for real, I like Tommy. Tommy's a good person. Tommy was nice to me. He did all kinds of cool things for me, and it was a great day to hang out with Tommy Dreamer. But in all actuality, I have never met anyone so sad ever. I've never met a star that was that sad all the time.
Chester Incredible was kind of sad when we were sitting outside smoking cigarettes.
Not as sad as Tommy Dreamer.
Ooh.
I'm telling you.
Jinder Mahal pulled from all WWE events. Jinder Mahal has been pulled from all live events, and it looks like we might not see him on television for a while. The former champion noted on Instagram that he is on the mend after suffering a ruptured patella at a live event on June 15th when he was wrestling Ali. Okay. Get well soon is all I can tell you. I mean, I think it's good for him to go away at this point anyway. I mean, I hate that he's hurt, but it's good for him to go away, let people forget about him for a little bit, and maybe come back and do something.
Yeah.
I mean, you give him the freaking world.
You hate to see him go, but you love to watch him leave. Is that what you're trying to say?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, he was the world champion. I wasn't a fan of it, but he was the world champion for a little while. And then he just starts jobbing out again.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I could give it. I really care less.
Right.
Get well soon. Heal up.
You got one more depressing news article about Tommy Dreamer before we move on?
No, I've got two. I got two that we really need to talk
I
about.
have two things about Tommy Dreamer.
You got one, and then I'm going to roll commercial break.
Okay, well, I guess I will talk about the new stable that is formed in the WWE on Main Event.
Hang on, Brian. I want you to show me how good you are right here. I'm not going to give you two, but I want to see if you can fit both
I'm already
news
two
articles.
steps ahead of you. I'm already 2 steps ahead of you. So EC3, Cesaro, and Robert Roode have been teaming up against the Lucha House Party on Main Event, and they have Renee Young referred to them as the Main Event Muscle Men, which I think is one of the dumbest names ever. And I think that it's crazy that they would even be considering calling themselves the Muscle Men after Bray Wyatt's Muscle Man dance. That makes no sense. It's almost like you're creating something for Bray to make fun of. But also,
Maybe it's their way to take a jab.
If Eli Drake was there, if Eli Drake was there, he would shut this whole thing down.
But
he's
wait,
not
Brian,
gonna be
Eli
there.
Drake is not
You know
there.
why he's not going to be there? Because he's in NWA, and it's official that he has been signed to the NWA, and he will be Magnus's tag team partner at ROH Best in the.
Feel better?
Wouldn't you rather just see the Main Event Mafia?
Yeah, why not? Well, I guess you couldn't call it that because of Impact.
Impact on
They
that
still
one,
own that?
I'm sure they do.
Really? Well, damn it.
We'll be right back, guys.
All right, go to commercial.
Two attorneys, one location. Gavin Ward and Josh Miller.
Hello, my name's Gavin Ward. I'm an attorney serving Southern West Virginia. If you need help with a real estate transaction or closing, probating a estate, a property dispute, estate planning, or bankruptcy, give us a call. We can help.
Hello, I'm attorney Josh Miller. I serve Southern West Virginia. If you've been injured in a car accident or hurt on the job or charged with a crime, please come see me today. I can help.
For a free consultation, call 681-207-7400.
All right, guys, welcome back. Brian is gone again.
Where'd I go?
I don't know. Your picture's not on the screen.
What?
Hit the video button.
What kind
Apple.
of what kind of voodoo is this?
Well, considering Rich Clicks is working,
Oh, good Lord, he's been dragged away. All right.
What kind of
Where are we at?
voodoo?
I don't
It
know.
was those guys. They came back. They
Oh.
said John Covey sent them.
damn it, almost had him. Let's talk a little bit about this topic this week that we said we was going to talk about.
You talking about Eli Drake and NWA? It's a pretty cool topic. You know, Colt Cabana was supposed to be Nick Aldis' partner, but then boom.
Hey,
Eli
keep
Drake comes
trying
out
me
of
is all
nowhere.
I can tell you, old buddy. Keep trying me.
All right. So anyway, we're talking about conspiracy theories. Does everyone have their favorite conspiracy theory?
I'm still kind of torn on a couple
I
of them, but I
do.
think I can narrow it down to one.
What is your favorite conspiracy theory, Mr. Quick?
Well, I was hoping somebody else would go first because I don't.
I
want
could go
to-
first.
Well, you go first then.
I'll tell you what my favorite conspiracy theory is actually, well, it's two theories wrapped in one, which is the Chris Benoit conspiracy theories, where either Kevin Sullivan did it or the Yakuza did it. That's two separate conspiracy theories, but they both have to do with Chris Benoit, and I'll take either one of them to be true if I could had a magic wand and I could make them true. And the simple reason why they are so special to me is because I really wish that that one of them was true, so that Chris Benoit wouldn't be a murderer that killed his kid.
Well, you and I both. John Covey Cole, have you ever got the chance to meet and talk with Kevin Sullivan?
I have not. I wanted to a couple
Okay.
times, but I haven't got the
Well,
chance.
Resner and I have. We had a Q&A and then a little meet and greet out back. And then, so you've heard him talk. You've asked him about this. What does Kevin Sullivan say when asked whether he killed Chris Benoit?
Well, I'm
and
going
his
to tell.
family?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell a story on this show right now that I've never told anyone, and it's because I don't want to. Let me put a disclaimer on it. First of all, I have no proof whatsoever that anything happened the day that Chris Benoit died, other than the actual report. But I have interviewed Kevin Sullivan twice about it. 2 separate times. One on stage in front of a group of people while he was drunk, and one on a podcast that never, ever seen the light of day because they took the recordings from us and we were not allowed to play. And I was told that if there was another copy of it that I aired, I would be sued for it. Now, that being said, I will tell you that I never once, ever thought Kevin Sullivan had anything to do with that until I asked Kevin Sullivan about it. So take that for whatever you want. But Kevin Sullivan acts really weird when you talk to him about it. One time he completely shut it down to where he did not want to talk about it on stage anymore in a really weird fashion. And then another time he had agreed to do the podcast where I was going to basically go through every single Benoit conspiracy theory. Because I don't know if you know this, but the conspiracy theory with Chris Benoit goes down a wicked rabbit hole, and there are all types of things out there in internet land for conspiracy theory lovers to talk about Chris Benoit. Now, the thing with Kevin Sullivan is there was a list of 21. He made it to about number 7, and then he threw his chicken wings across the room and stormed out. Very interesting interview.
Hypothetically, what was number 7?
I don't remember. I think it was the thing about Chavo. I don't know if you've heard that Chavo got some weird text messages telling him about things that he already knew, like how to get into his house and what his dogs' names were and things like that. But Chavo already knew that stuff. So that was kind of weird. But there were a lot of different things. We talked about Kevin Sullivan being a Satan worshiper, and how that the act happened on his anniversary with Nancy, which is pretty interesting all in itself. There were a lot of things. Kevin Sullivan put it over as Nancy was very special to him, and that it angers him for anyone to try and change the way she died with conspiracy theories. That's what he told me about why he acted the way he did. But either way, it was very weird. I know that if I wouldn't have killed somebody and you were questioning me about just random conspiracy theories, I wouldn't get so mad to throw my chicken wings across the room. But I mean, I'm not saying that he did it. Honestly, I like the Yakuza version better. I don't know if you've ever heard the Yakuza story. Have you heard the Yakuza story?
I have not.
Well, supposedly Chris Benoit owed the Yakuza $300,000, and that the Yakuza never got paid. And there's little things, little tidbits of information, like Chris Benoit never went back to Japan after he came back. After he came from Japan to WCW, he never went back to Japan. And he didn't go back to Japan even there's a certain date that Chris Benoit came back from Japan and never went back, even when WCW went. He didn't go. And supposedly the Yakuza, or Yakuza came to his house, killed his family, killed him, set the whole thing up to look like a suicide murder, which is something the Yakuza is known for doing. The Yakuza does kill people and dishonor them so that they die in a dishonorable way to ruin their reputation, name, and to kill them. Now, the person who told me
for like
this,
for like $300,000.
Yeah, over $300,000. And the person who told me is a professional wrestler, and he told me that it was common knowledge and that all kinds of wrestlers knew that the Yakuza killed Chris Benoit, and nobody talks about it because they don't want to be killed by the Yakuza. Now, both of those things could be complete. I mean, they're conspiracy theories for a reason. I'm not saying I believe them. at all. Being a Chris Benoit truther is almost like being a flat earther in the wrestling community. But man, what a glorious thing if we could somehow make Chris Benoit not a murderer. But I'm pretty sure he's just a murderer.
Probably, yeah. But those are both real. Hey, if anybody's going to do it, and that's what I think is great. Like the great thing about Kevin Sullivan is that his character, when you meet him in person, he's a very jolly, fun guy.
He is.
And he was very nice, very accommodating. It was one of the greatest thrills of my life that we were standing outside and he filmed a promo, and then you turned the camera to me and then I filmed a promo standing next to Kevin Sullivan. It was amazing. It was great. But when you hang out with Kevin Sullivan, there's a part of you that goes, this dude could kill me if he wanted to. Like, he has that in him. And that's just, which is the beauty of his character. So
yeah, really, that is the beauty of his character. I've seen him tell a story about Andre the Giant that would make you laugh your ass off. And then I've also heard him tell a story that makes me think he's a psycho murderer. You never know. I thought it was really weird that he told us that he was not a Satan worshiper, that he was a Catholic and had always been a Catholic, even though there's all kind of wrestlers who believe that he is a Satan worshiper and that it's common knowledge that he's a Satan worshiper. And he never was on record saying he was a Catholic until after Benoit died.
Covey Cole, your thoughts on this?
I'm with Brian in a lot of ways. Part of me, the fan in me, wants to say Chris Benoit didn't lose his shit and kill his family. He was set up somehow, but I mean, it's just, I'm not big on conspiracies, guys. And,
see, I love conspiracies.
Oh, but I enjoy them.
I think we landed on the moon too, didn't you, Covey Cole? That's a story for a different day. Go ahead with Benoit.
I enjoy a good conspiracy theory. I'll share mine here shortly, but I don't think, without looking at all the facts, I can't say that is a possibility or not. But deep down, something tells me that, I don't get it, man. Benoit was on top of the world, man. You know what I mean?
That's one of the reasons why people are looking
people
for
got
a
problems,
reason.
man.
But I mean,
problems.
that's one of the reasons why people created a conspiracy theory about this, if it was created, because they know Benoit was a family man. Benoit loved his wife. Benoit loved his kids. You ever watched Hard Knocks, the Benoit story? Have you watched it since he died? It's the weirdest, eeriest thing you could ever watch, because you see him hugging his kid. You see him kissing his wife. You see him talking about his family being everything to him. Then you hear every single wrestler that ever worked with him saying he's the greatest human being that ever lived. And you're like, oh, my God, this guy's a murderer. It's insane. But at
the same time, it was ruled he had CTE, correct?
Yeah.
Well, who's to say that CTE itself is not a conspiracy? Who's to say that the Illuminati doesn't just label this on people?
No. We're not getting Alex Jones territory here.
Hey, that's what conspiracy theories are all about.
Thing, okay, brain damage is a real damn thing.
That's what conspiracy theories are all about, Rich Quick. I'm with you, John Covey. I'm with you 100%. Maybe this CTE thing's all just maybe it's just Farmer Wilson in a mask.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my favorite conspiracy out. There's a few out there.
Well, real quick
supplements.
You just talked for 20 minutes. What do you mean, real quick?
Well, before you do, I want to talk about something you said last week.
Okay.
Is you talked about Vince Russo's Paul McCartney conspiracy episode?
Right.
That thing was so good. I
Thank
listened
you.
to both parts. Did you see the new parts out?
I did. Yeah.
Well, since I've listened to those two, I've also bought Paul is Dead on Xfinity,
nice.
And I'm like really into this. Like, I really don't think Paul McCartney is a real biological person anymore.
Right.
That is a crazy conspiracy. That is crazy. Rich, I'm telling you, you should look into it.
Billy Spears, right?
Yeah, Billy
I'm
Shears.
looking around to see if people are getting raptured at the moment because I'm like, this is the end of the world.
Listen, Billy
Brian
Shears
Reznor has turned full on crazy.
Billy Shears has 6 toes. Paul McCartney had 5. Damn it. Anyway, go ahead, John.
My conspiracy is probably one of the most well-known conspiracies of the rest of the world, and that is
Does it have to do with Stephanie getting boinked?
no, it
Okay.
is the Montreal screw job. I still think it's a work.
You think it's a work?
I think it's a work, man.
Earl Hebner agrees with you, and he was there.
Scott Hall agrees with me. Yeah.
Scott, yeah, it's crazy that Scott Hall does because, you know, bro, you could totally find out. Shawn is like one of your best friends. Like, you can't just talk to Shawn Michaels and find out if that's. Come on.
It just seems like a Dick Razor thing to say. Be like, yeah, man, it was all a work.
It was all fake.
I'll get him talking.
Fake, man. Oh.
But I'm not going to go
Well-
into it because I'm sure the Ramblers know about the Montreal screw job.
I don't
Conspiracy.
think it was a work. I think it was the real deal.
I think that I too believe it was the real deal. Well, Reznor brought it up, so therefore I think there should be an honorable mention. And we'll go through them very quickly. We'll save yours for last. Mine, because that was going to be mine, but I'm like, okay, since you brought that up, mine is the conspiracy theory, and I love it, that Vince Russo was sent to WCW to ruin them.
Now, this
A
is your
plan.
pick, or is this just an honorable mention?
No, this is my pick.
Okay.
Reznor gets the honorable mention.
Gotcha.
My pick was that Russo gets sent to WCW to end WCW, and I believe that it's true, but it's not that he was sent there. I think that Vince McMahon knew that Vince Russo would be helpless on his own running a company. So it was a passive-aggressive send down, like, okay, you can go. There you go. Oh, really? We're not going to fight? Oh, we're not going to fight this. Oh, gee. He's got.
He kinda did the-
suck. He's gotta suck.
He kind of did the same thing at TNA as well.
Do what?
He kind of did the same thing at TNA as well. But he did bring TNA up to a higher rating than it had ever had before and never has had again.
Yeah. TNA sucks.
He brought TNA up to 2 million viewers during the height of the SEX storyline. During the height of the SEX storyline, he had it up to 2 million viewers.
Good on him. But did he or did he not? Did he or did he not essentially cause the downfall of WCW?
I don't know if he caused it or not.
That place was doomed before he got there, man.
I feel like the person who should be pinpointed as the person who caused the destruction of WCW would be one of the backstage guys.
Bro. It was not Vince Russo.
I don't feel like they gave Vince Russo enough time really to do anything.
I think you're hitting on something there, Brian.
What is wrong with you?
I think
saying-
Well, on a forklift, man.
Okay, that was
That's
terrible.
all that needs to be said.
And David Arquette is the champion. You're right.
And
You're
Vince
right.
Russo was the champion. Wasn't he
Oh, yeah.
champion at some point?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
I'm giving you D-Lo, Nick. There you go.
maybe Russo. I'll give you this, Rich. Maybe Russo was the final nail in the coffin, but that sumbitch was going down before he even got there.
Correct. Now, with your permission,
Ramble
the
on,
honorable
boys.
mention.
Go for it.
Well, you brought it up. I will lead it in. You tell the story. How about that? All
right.
The honorable mention to honestly, probably the greatest conspiracy theory in wrestling history, which is the fact that Randy Savage left the WWF because he was banging a 14, was it 14?
15.
A 15-year-old Stephanie McMahon.
That is the conspiracy theory, and it's a weird one. And I know that if you listen to Something to Wrestle With, when Bruce Pritchard was asked that question, It was a very weird exchange between him and Conrad, and if you
He
notice,
said he never heard it. He never heard that.
And he's lying. You know that was the thing. That was the thing that really got me, is that he said he never heard it when you know he had. And then, like, by the end of it, he's talking all this stuff about it. Like, you just thought of all this stuff just now? No, you've heard this and been thinking about it for years, just like all of us have. And yeah, I wonder if that's what happened, because it makes no sense of why, everybody got to come back. Everybody got a lot of things that the Macho Man didn't get, and the Macho Man didn't get put in the Hall of Fame until he was dead.
Yeah.
Too dead to come back and steal Stephanie.
Give him a little bit of my Slim Jim, oh yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time, and that everyone's been talking about for years upon years upon years, is that the Macho Man did some bad stuff with Stephanie McMahon when she was 15 years old, which caused Vince to disown him as a human.
And I hate to bring this up, but Macho Man aside, I know, and there was a rule, supposedly, that Stephanie was not supposed to date or carouse with any of the boys. But we know she got Test, and then she got Triple H. Whether I seriously doubt those were the only two.
Yeah.
When that tell-all book comes out later, when Stephanie McMahon writes her tell-all book, I am right there for it.
Oh shit! Let's close that. Rich, come on, man.
She ain't gonna write that.
Come on, she gonna ruin the McMahon name to get her shit out there? No.
Well, she'll only talk about the good ones. John Cena's in there.
She couldn't see him though.
Sit back, baby.
All right, are you guys ready for a quick rundown of some other of conspiracies?
Yeah,
that are
throw them out real quick,
there?
brother-in-law.
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah, throw them out.
Well, we've got the Ultimate Warrior died and was replaced.
That was almost
by another
my pick.
Ultimate Warrior.
That was almost my pick.
They say that happened because the Ultimate Warrior come back and wore a singlet that had painted muscles on it, and the rumor flew from there.
The reason I didn't choose that one was because honestly I had never heard it before until I started doing my research for this show, and I was like, huh, interesting.
Really?
And for me, I mean, good conspiracies, legitimate contenders to be a conspiracy, they live through the times, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know nothing about it, so it obviously wasn't.
Like Paul McCartney's that has lasted for 50 years.
Right, right.
It's a great one, Rich. You really should check that out.
I will check that out. Let me throw one out here because it was almost going to be my number one, but if you have it on your list, I'll go ahead and say it.
Okay,
it was almost my number one, but seeing as how there were so few of us here tonight, I went with the flashy. Gino Hernandez. And there are two parts to that conspiracy. I'll make them very quick. First one is that Paul Bosch, legendary wrestling promoter, was actually Gino Hernandez's father. And if you don't know Gino Hernandez, when I was just like a little rich, right? I lived in Florida, and it's the early 80s. And when the syndicated wrestling we got was from Texas, we got WCCW. We got World Class in Florida. So I grew up watching the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, Chris Adams, Gino Hernandez, all those guys. And so I was very familiar with Gino Hernandez. And then he died, and that was the other conspiracy, is that he died of a drug overdose, but they found like 5 times more cocaine in his body than could kill a person.
Did you say cocaine?
I said cocaine, yes. And so they found like 5 times more cocaine in his body than would kill a normal person, plus some in his stomach. And so there is a big conspiracy that he was murdered because of his drug activity rather than an overdose. And also that Paul Bosch was his father. But on the Viceland series, his mother laughed that off and said, no, Paul Bosch was not his father. But Bruce Pritchard says otherwise. So, I mean, who are you going to believe, right? I mean, a guy's mother or Bruce Pritchard. So,
Yeah, Bruce Prichard won't lie to you.
That is a good conspiracy theory that not a lot of people know about. Sort of like Dino Bravo getting killed over cigarettes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fact or a conspiracy. Is it a fact or conspiracy? Dino Bravo was killed for over something to do with or smuggling cigarettes for the mafia.
What?
Yeah, that's supposed to be what Dino Bravo was killed over. Was
you're hurting my head
some...
now, Brian.
Well, that's the story I've always heard.
I said you're hurting my head now.
I think that's a fact. I don't even think that's conspiracy theory.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that he had something to do with smuggling cigarettes into other states, and then boom, he was killed for it because he kept the money on some big run.
I reckon.
What's the next? What is the next conspiracy theory, sir?
The next conspiracy theory is that Vince McMahon is a part of the Illuminati, and that the entire WWE has Masonic, satanic imagery throughout the entire WWE.
If the Illuminati is a thing, there's no doubt in my mind that Vince McMahon is part of it.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you, I think part of me wants to believe that this is true just because it's fun. And
thank God, a sane person. Because I'm like, if all three of us agree that there's an Illuminati and shit, every sane person who watches us is going to turn us off right now.
They're all
so
conspiracy
please
theorists.
be the voice of reason.
Well, a part of me wants to believe it just because the YouTube videos are really fun. But then another part of me wants to say that I believe that Vince McMahon has caught this conspiracy and now throws this stuff out there just to mess with the conspiracy theory
It's
people.
a rib. It's a rib on
I
us.
feel like it is a rib. If you notice, there's a triangle in the A of Raw. And
of course, yeah.
And the entire show goes through that triangle in the imagery.
Okay. Well, okay. Now that makes a lot of sense because I have an idiot friend, okay, who loves wrestling and will text me every Monday night, every Tuesday night, and I have playful banter back and forth while I'm watching. And the first night that triangle appeared, his dumb ass was like, "See, I told you, man. It's the Illuminati. It's the Illuminati. They're there." And I went, "Oh, okay. Oh, well, he got the redneck vote. All right. See, yeah, this must be a rib kind of thing." So,
yeah, I mean, and even with the
there is an Illuminati. I think it's I think it can be both. I think it can be both. He's part of the Illuminati, and how about that?
And the Ascension thing. The Ascension thing's a big thing for the conspiracy theory guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But wouldn't they get over if they were?
Have you ever seen the YouTube videos I'm talking about? Because they literally break so much stuff down. There are hours of WWE Illuminati videos on YouTube, like hours of them.
Yeah. Yes, I have, but generally someone starts saying something stupid, and then I go, "Oh, well, you're a moron." Kind of how people would have done had we all agreed that there is an Illuminati. So, what's next?
Well,
what's last? Got one more to throw out there, Brian.
One more?
That's correct.
Man, John Covey and this power stick. What is going on? I don't even know if I have to.
He's a taskmaster. Colin Kelvin Sullivan. Say that. Yeah, let me try that again. He's a taskmaster, baby. Colin Kevin Sullivan. Yeah.
All right.
Good?
So,
all right, that was good.
Man, there's a couple good ones. Okay, so we're going to talk about Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels being lovers.
Ooh.
You ever heard that one?
I have, but I think that one gets trumped by another Shawn Michaels one that was always more prevalent in my mind.
Which is?
Pat Patterson and Shawn Michaels.
I never heard
Basically, both of these things involve Shawn Michaels giving fellatio. That is what both of these things mean. Well, maybe in Vince's, he made it more for Vince. But in the rumor I always heard was that Shawn Michaels got his spot because he did some stuff with Pat Patterson. So that was always a rumor I always heard.
I just figured it out, boys. Shawn Michaels come up to help train at NXT, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Well, he comes to help train at NXT. Ricochet gets over, does a butthole banging video with his finger. Now he's over too. So there's a lot of vidility. How do you pronounce that word? Vidility?
Sexual innuendo.
Yeah, that's not the word, but okay, whatever.
No, I know. I'm just giving you a better
Validity.
Validity. There you go.
Validity is that what you're talking
With
Okay,
Shawn
yes.
Michaels doing the diddles with McMahon and Patterson, and now Ricochet.
Shawn Michaels wouldn't do that now.
Brian, what's on the
He loves
agenda
the
for
Lord.
next week, bro?
What is it?
What's on the agenda for next week?
I don't have my schedule in front of me. You better throw out the
Jesus
graphic.
Christ.
I'll gladly talk about it.
There it is.
The art of repackaging. Okay, there's a lot of wrestlers in the WWE that are not being used right now. And we know this because we talk about them every single week. Why aren't they doing anything with this guy? Why aren't they doing anything with this guy? Well, Vince McMahon has tasked you to pick two and repackage them as a tag team. I want to see your successful tag team, Rich Quick. I want to see your successful tag team, John Covey Cole. And I would like to see repackaging done by the listeners of the Ramble here and come up with your own tag teams out of people that are not being used or not being used properly. Maybe they're being used but not being used properly. Either way, you take two stars from the WWE, put them together, and repackage them as a successful tag team. Let's see you do it. What would you do if Vince gave you the keys?
Well, if he gave me the keys, I'd probably.
Ooh, coming in hot, baby. I like it. Oh, I like that a lot. All right.
That's not the only thing going on next week, guys. I'm defending my championship.
Are you going to do the
week.
thing? Are you going to do the thing?
I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to let everybody know who I'm going to be facing. Next week.
I'm so excited.
Next week on the Royal Ramble. We're actually going to bring this person into the studio. He's going to sit through the show with us, and we're going to do like a 10-question trivia thing. And if he can stump me, he will be she will be the champion. And if
What
not,
do you mean? You guys are coming up with questions for each other?
No. I will disclose that with you after we get off the air, sir.
Oh,
You are going to be asking
more
the
work
questions.
for me, isn't it?
You're
Sure.
booked, kid.
Hey, you said that you wanted the show to go on, right, baby?
I did, and I love this show. And
Nick?
you, John Covey Cole.
I love you back, even though you get on my friggin' nerves sometimes.
Thanks.
Tell me who the frig it is.
All right,
I
next
wanna
week
know
here
who
on the
you're
show,
facing.
one of the most earliest follows of the Royal Ramble. Next week, in a trivia contest, your champion, John Covey Cole, versus the incomparable Michael Loving here on the Royal Ramble. Could have been you, Derek. Could have been
Mike
you.
Loving is going to face you for the championship.
Oh, yeah, I ain't scared either. I'm going to beat him.
You know, I think Mike's going to beat you, John.
If you set this up, Rich, you all right over there, buddy?
This is going to be like Tyson versus Hurricane Peter McNeely.
Excuse me. I mean, best of
I
luck.
need you guys to have more faith in me than that.
Mike. Can't get through it. I can't get through it. Jesus
Derek.
God. All right.
Come back, Derek. I'm talking to you. Come
Hey,
back.
that could have been Derek, but he done pissed me off, slandering my name too
Should
much.
have been Derek.
Should have been. I was going to be. But, you know.
First, you get the kid beat up in your yard. Then you fire him from the show just so you can hang on to that gold.
I'm defending it next week. I figured there's like a 30-day clause or something where I haven't defended it, so I'm defending it next week like a real honorable champion would do, right? Right.
Oh, honorable. Yeah. Against
Mike Loving.
that should be a crime.
Big Cliff says, why do I really want Mike Loving to win? Big Cliff, you go to hell, pal. What do you mean you want Mike Loving to win? I don't think that's very nice.
No, because they're the equivalent. Big Cliff is the British equivalent of Mike Loving, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're kindred spirits, those two. They should meet up. I would pay to watch that television show. You send Ben Cliff and Mike Loving on like a hike.
Whoa! You know,
happens.
Mike Loving has his own show called the Mike Loving Show, and
Big Mike Talk Line is what it's called.
Yeah, the Big Mike Talk Line, and the Big Mike Talk Line has guests. Maybe he could have Ben Cliff as a guest on his show, and that'd be gold.
That would boost ratings. Actually,
Maybe they should do that.
Would.
Maybe they should do
would,
that and
actually.
talk about the Royal Ramble.
Next week on
Oh,
Facebook
you can
Live
talk about
at
the
7
Royal
o'clock, guys. Like Brian said, the art of repackaging. We got to build a successful tag team package out of 2 underutilized WWE superstars. Ramblers, we want to hear from you also. Let us know. And then, of course, I'm going to be defending against Michael Loving next week also. So tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rich Quick, hopefully, is going to be here. Brian is going to be here. Steve New.
Oh, baby, I'm going to be here. All right? And listen, I cannot wait to be in the same area as Mike Loving. So, good luck, kid.
Big Cliff. Sorry, Rich. Big Cliff, so we're talking smack. He says, wait, you fired Derek Jones. Now there's only Rez who knows his wrestling left on this show.
Oh, big shot to the gut on Rich Quick.
See, that's why I said he's the equivalent of Mike Loving.
He also says Mike
nothing.
Loving. He says
He
Mike
knows
Loving.
nothing. He just wants to pick on me because I'm the cool kid in the room, and he thinks, oh, he's going to be good by getting over on the freaking whatever.
He also says Mike Loving has his own show. It's called Storage Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys on the Ramblers on Facebook are acting surprised that Derek Jones got fired. He slandered my name and belittled me so much. I ain't got time for that, and I ain't got to put up with it. Therefore, that's what got him into the business he's in. So, take that up with him. It's out of my hands.
You know, you keep this attitude up, and the Royal Ramble is going to end up like the Trump cabinet, and you're going to be all by yourself.
There you go with Trump again.
Oh, what a great way to get us off the air. Oh,
all right,
great.
Rich Quick.
All right.
I'm John Covey Cole. Brian Trump.
Brian Resner. It's
That's
John Trumpy Cole.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. I'm gonna retain this championship. Come on back and see us. Till then,
Let's
Ramble
go,
on.
Mike Loving. Ramble on.